red button. Black button. Left proximity sensor. Right proximity sensor. Top left solenoid valve. Bottom left solenoid valve. Top right solenoid valve. Bottom right solenoid valve. Right relay, A, to move conveyor. Left relay, B, to change direction of conveyor.
The red button is connect to input 0.00. The black button is connect to input 0.01. Left proximity sensor is connect to the extension. Then connect to input 0.03. The right proximity sensor is connect to the extension. Then to the input 0.04. Next, the top left solenoid valve is connect to the output 100.00. While the bottom left solenoid valve is connect to the output 100.01. The top right solenoid is connect to output 100.02. And the bottom right solenoid valve is connect to output 100.03. The right relay, A, is to move the conveyor. It is connect to the output 100.04. The left relay, B, is to change the direction of the conveyor, which is connect to output 100.05. Lastly, the PLC will connect it to computer by USB cable wire. While CX Programmer version 9.3 was used to create the ladder diagram.
Sequence 1 The conveyor moves start from right to left. Sequence 2 Top right solenoid valve extend. Sequence 3 Bottom right solenoid valve retract. 4 Bottom right solenoid valve extend. Sequence 5 Top right solenoid valve retract. Sequence 6 Conveyor move. Then, repeat sequence 2 to 5 for sequence 7 to 10. Sequence 11 Conveyor change direction. Lastly, this is the move path of container and the sequence to collect the ping pong balls.
Normally open input sequence 1, 6 and 11 was linked to right relay. Either one of the sequence on will trigger the right relay. Once right relay activated, the conveyor belt start to move. Counter 1 is used to activate the left relay. Once left relay is activated, the direction of conveyor belt will change. Counter 1 is set to begin at sequence 11. The counter 001 will activate the left relay to change the conveyor's direction. The direction of conveyor will change in every following sequence 6 and sequence 11. Either one of sequence 2, sequence 3 or sequence 4 on will activate top right solenoid valve. Since the top right solenoid valve is retracted initially, hence if it was activated, it will extend. In contrast, the bottom right solenoid valve was extended initially. Hence, at sequence 3, bottom right solenoid valve will be activated to retract. Top left solenoid valve activated by either sequence 7, sequence 8, or sequence 9, while bottom left solenoid valve activated by sequence 8. In rung 8, top right solenoid valve was normally closed linked to timer 001, which was set to retract itself. While in rung 9, normally open top right solenoid valve was linked to timer 002 and was set to extend itself. The value was set at number 20, which means once timer activated, it will count down for 2 seconds. And its same concept go to timer 003 and 4, timer 005 and timer 006, as well as timer 007 and timer 008. Once red switch is pressed, sequence 1 will on and the conveyor will move as mentioned before. The conveyor will stop moving once the normally closed input left proximity sensor and right proximity sensor were sensed and activated. In sequence 2, once the right proximity sensor sensed, top right solenoid valve will in retract condition as it was connected to T001. While bottom right solenoid valve will in extend condition as it normally opened connected to T003. Once sequence 2 on, it will extend top right solenoid valve from its initial retracted position, where sequence 2 will break off once sequence 3 is triggered. And similar concept to sequence 3, 4 and 5. In sequence 3, top right solenoid will keep in extended position as it connected to T002, while bottom right solenoid valve will retract it. Hence, first ping pong ball drop down from right cylinder. Once sequence 4 activated, bottom right solenoid valve extended while top right solenoid valve keep extended. Sequence 5 is to retract the top right solenoid valve, so that the third ball drop and placed in between top and bottom right solenoid valve. At this moment, the right cylinder has back to its initial situation. In sequence 6, conveyor will continue moving to the left side as described before. In sequence 7, once the left proximity sensor sensed and sequence 7 on, conveyor stop moving and top left solenoid valve extended. Sequence 8 to retract bottom left solenoid valve so that second ping pong ball drop down into container. Sequence 9 to extend bottom left solenoid valve. Sequence 10 is to retract top left solenoid valve so that the fourth ball will drop in between two valves and ready to drop down. After left cylinder back to position in sequence 10, it will activate sequence 11. Hence, conveyor will start moving and change the direction automatically as mentioned before without pressing any button. Then, the sequences will repeated for 4 times to collect altogether 8 ping pong balls from both cylinders. Once the left sensor sensed for 4 times, the whole process stop automatically. Because the left sensor was connected to counter 002 and set value of number 4, which mean it will count for 4 times to stop the process. We used left sensor because magnetic sensor was not provided. In the same case, right sensor can be used to stop the process as well. However, be alerted that the counter value for right sensor is number 5 so that it can stop after successfully collected 8 balls instead of stopped when only 7 balls collected. Whole process will be reset by black switch. black switch was inserted in every sequence as normally closed input so it can act as emergency stop button.